Assalamualaikum everyone. How's your day going? I hope everything is going well and you are healthy and surrounded by happiness. Today we are going to study science and the topic is light on chapter 16. Let's take a look. On this chapter, we will find out what is our main source of light. Second, what are some other sources of light? Third, how are we able to see the objects around us? Fourth, how do people, animals, and plants use light from the sun? Fifth, how do too little or too much light from the sun affect people, animals, and plants? And the last is, what are some uses of light from other sources? First, what are some sources of light? Light sources give off their own light. During the day, the sun is our main source of light. The light from the sun brightens our surroundings. Besides the sun, there are other sources of light, such as stars, lamps, lit candles, and torches are example of other sources of light, like in this picture. Let's move on the next slide. How do people, animals, and plants use light from the sun? We need light to help us to see. The light from the sun helps us to see the objects around us during the day. Many objects around us are not sources of light. However, we are able to see them during the day because they reflect light from the sun into our eyes. This means that light from the sun bounces off the objects and enters our eyes. We can see the objects around us only when light enters our eyes. Now please take a look on the picture. The boy is playing baseball. The light from the sun falls on the ball, and then the light from the sun bounces off the ball and enters the boy's eyes. So the boy is able to see the ball. Next, other uses of light from the sun. People, animals, and plants use light from the sun in many ways. First, for photo taking. People make use of light from the sun to take outdoor photographs during the day. The light from the sun is used to produce images on the film inside a camera. Next, it's for animals to see. Like people, most animals need light from the sun to help them see during the day. Seeing helps animals to move from place to place and look for food. It also warns them of danger. For example, the snake uses light from the sun to help it see and look for food. Meanwhile, for the frogs use light from the sun to help it see signs of danger. Next, for plants to make food. Plants plants make food using light from the sun. People and animals depend directly or indirectly on plants and hence the sun for food. Let us look at an example of how animals depend on the sun for food. First, grass make food using light from the sun. And then, the zebra feeds on the grass. After that, the lion feeds on the zebra. Previously, we have learned about other uses of light for people, animals, and plants. Now, we move on to the effects of too little light or too much light from the sun. People and animals and plants are affected by too little light as well as too much light from the sun. First, on people, it can affect us in many ways. First, damage our eyes. Too little light from the sun makes our surroundings dim. Our eyes have to work harder and become tired if we read under the dim light. We need other sources of light to help us see more clearly. Looking at the bright light from the sun can damage our eyes and cause blindness. So we shouldn't read under the dim light. Instead, we should read under bright light to protect our eyes. Besides that, it can damage our skin. Exposing our skin too much light from the sun can also cause sunburn and skin cancer. Sunburned skin is red and painful. Sunburned skin can take several days to heal. So, after you know the effects of having too little light or too much light from the sun, we also need to know how to protect ourselves from sunlight. First, we should learn how to avoid getting hurt by sunlight. We should never look directly at the sun. We should wear sunglasses when we are having outdoors activity or especially during the day. And we should apply sunscreen on our skin before going out in the sun. We shouldn't stay in the sun for too long. So here are the effects of having too little or too much light for animals. Animals become inactive. Some animals, such as frogs and lizards, become inactive when they get too little light from the sun. It can also damage eyes and skin. Some animals, such as earthworms and moles, prefer to live in the dark. They move away to a darker place when light shines on them. Too much light from the sun can damage their eyes and skin. So you can see the moles right here is digging the hole to hide them from the sun. Meanwhile, for the plants, when a plant gets too little light from the sun, the leaves become small and the stem becomes thin. It doesn't grow well. The plant slowly losing its leaves under too little light. And also, when a plant gets too much light from the sun, The edge of its leaves may turn yellow or brown. When the leaves turn yellow or brown, they will not be able to make food for the plant. So damaged leaves of a plant under too strong sunlight can be yellow or brown. Now we are almost at the end of the explanation. We come up with what are some uses of other sources of light. We use other sources of light to help us see at night. Besides helping us to see, there are other uses of light from other sources. First, for decorating. We use colorful lights to decorate or beautify places. Next, for controlling traffic. Traffic lights help to control the flow of traffic on roads. For warning, a lighthouse gives out a strong beam of light. It helps to guide ships in the dark and warns ships of danger. The last but not least, for producing images. Film projectors make use of light to produce images onto the screens. Like you usually see on the classroom, we use projectors to showing the screen from the computer. So kids, I have a question for you. Can you please mention 2 other uses of light in everyday life? Please write on the section comment down below. So now, before we end the video, I have a question for you. Please take a piece of paper and then write down the answer. You can choose the answer from the board in here, from Christmas tree until runaway. Please choose the correct answer. I will give you around 3 minutes until you have done, and then you can see the correct answer on the next slide through this video. all for today's topic. I hope you enjoy the learning. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. See you on the next video. Bye bye.